Hello again, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Real Connection podcast. I am your host, Sean Santoro with TMG, the Mortgage Group. I am joined today by my co-host, Dave McCall. Dave, say hello to everybody.
Hello, everybody. How's you? I can't talk today. I haven't had
It's
enough
because you've
coffee
seen
yet.
me too many times in too many days. This is what, like 4 in a row?
I know. So,
It's all the
how
same.
are you doing today since I saw you last night?
Buddy, just trying to keep the chains moving and
That's it.
going.
I hear you.
But today we are very lucky. We have a wonderful guest today. This is Kass DiPasquale from Kass Design Studio. She is going to be blowing our minds with some design stuff, teaching us some things, some tips, some tricks, and really kind of giving us some insight into the design aspect of the real estate side. So for people that kind of aren't familiar with you, Kass, what's your story? How'd you get here?
Oh my gosh, I don't know if we have enough time for my whole story, but no, I think if I don't go back too far, I've been interested in the construction world since I was little. My parents built like our first house and it just really intrigued me. And then after I started getting into the real estate market myself, in my adulthood, there was just this fascination with transforming spaces. So I was actually in finance for a solid chunk of time before I got into this. I feel like
There
I
you
know.
go.
I have to
There you go.
preface it because I think a lot of people believe that designers are just going to spend all their money. And I get to come at it from a little bit more of a practical standpoint and what's actually going to work for them. So I was in finance for a solid chunk of time. I was a fashion merchandiser. So the creative element of things is in my bones. And then, yeah, like I said, after buying and selling so many houses, I just had a knack for it. And I realized how much I would love to be able to bounce ideas off of other people, right? What's going to work, what's not going to work. And yeah, so I started doing it for myself and then it just branched out from there. So if people are going to ask me for help, I'm going to give it.
That's it.
You and I spoke the other day, and
Mhm.
the creative side of design. I mean, it's very artistic.
Yeah.
You know, it really is. And Sean, he's flipped some houses, and we were discussing with another guest the other day about, that creative side, how it really gets the juices flowing.
Yep.
So, I mean, when somebody calls you in, and you walk into, basically a new palette, for want of a better word, what's your process? How do you when you're walking into a strange environment and
Yep.
basically they're saying, okay, we want to change all of this. How do you get into their heads? How do you figure out what they want?
The bottom line, I ask a lot of questions. A lot of questions. And then I sort of I'll tell people too when I show up to a consultation, I said I might not like outwardly have, all of these ideas flowing because I am just trying to take in what you're telling me. So I ask a lot of questions about how they want to feel, how they're going to use the space, and then let alone how long they're going to stay in the house for. Because that plays a huge factor in how much they're going to want to spend, where their priorities are. So I
Mhm.
really have this umbrella of questions that I ask about the people, the house, and where they're at in their life phase. And yeah, sometimes it takes me a little bit to process. I'll get
Sure.
my wheels spinning, but so it's really just a lot of questions. I ask a lot of
Yeah.
questions. I want to know
So it's
how they
not
want to feel.
it's not
Yeah.
paint by number. You don't walk in and go, okay, we're
No.
going to do, this color here, this color here, this color here, and at next, you know.
No, it
Uh,
is a huge process of functionality, like a lot of what's working, what's not working. So I love that as like some homework I'll give to my clients too. What's working,
Mhm.
what's not working, and then coming up with just those solutions. I mean, that's my jam.
Mhm. Well, that's the thing, right? And I find that the more I kind of get to chat with people that have flipped houses or whatever, the more time that we spend in real estate is not everybody has the gift of being able to look at a room in its current state and be
Yeah.
like, yeah, so this is what it'll look like with the U style
I
kitchen
do not
and
have
that
that
kind of
gift.
light and then this and that. Like some people just don't have that.
Yeah.
I mean, I can visualize it, not from like a designer standpoint by any means, but I can visualize it and be like, yeah, okay, yeah, I can see how that'll look good. But I would absolutely say, for a lot of those people that don't have that ability to kind of visualize that, you need a designer,
Yeah.
because the last thing you want to do is tear out your kitchen and be like, well, I guess
Now
we'll
what?
figure it out.
And
Well, see,
that, I feel like, is the biggest thing. Is a lot of these decisions they're fairly permanent. They're big money. They're,
yeah.
it takes a lot of time, and there's details and this and that. And so I find two things. They don't want to make a mistake, and I get it. But then it's also nice when you sort of have someone to blame. So I'll say that, right? It's like,
Accountability.
right?
There you
Blame
go.
me, because I'm going to tell you what's going to work and what's not going to work. And so I'll be your scapegoat. I'm fine with that, because like you said, Sean, I've got this really wicked way of being able to see it in my mind before it ever comes to life. And so when I then look at a finished space, and I was like, I knew it, because I could already.
I'm the opposite, Cass. I'm the opposite. My wife says to me, she says, well, what do you think of this dress? Or what do you think of this color? And I'm like, I won't know until I see it on you, or I won't know until I see it on the wall. I cannot visualize, anything. So for me, having somebody come in who has that vision, who can walk in and sort of interpret, what I want. To me, that's an invaluable service. It really
You've
is.
got the 30 swatches on the wall.
Oh yeah, I mean, I would have like, yeah, for sure, absolutely. I would have 30 swatches on the wall. We'd have, color panels all over the place, and my wife would be saying, "What about this? What about this? What about this?" And even when I see it on the wall, until the whole wall's painted, we did one whole room one time, and but when I finally got finished, we stood back and go, "No, that's not it." And I had to redo the entire room again. So, that gets tiring.
Yeah, it becomes exhausting. Like there's just it's design overwhelm is sort of, the term that I use, because there's so many choices. So many choices. And so how do you know that you're making the right one, again, for your house, for you, and where you're at in this phase of your life? And so listening to people is huge. And I just had a phone call earlier this morning with a new inquiry, and she went through the process with some of her closets. And then the gentleman had designed the mudroom, and it was just this, they couldn't get on the same page. And her exact words were, I don't think he was listening. And listening then to understand and be able to implement it, not just from the, oh yeah, well, that would look nice. So
I've got to ask you a question, because I'm sure Sean's run into this, and I'm sure you have. I've run into this with clients of mine. They say they have something in mind. They really don't.
know where this is going.
They really don't. So they start describing what they want, and you kind of go, okay, I can do this and this and this, and then you bring in your case, maybe some color swatches or some paint, and they're going, no, that's not it. Because this image in their mind keeps shifting.
Yes.
How do you deal with that? I know it's not easy for me.
No, and you know what? There's really not one way that I deal with that. Again, I ask a lot of questions I just keep trying to dig deeper. And so this happens a lot with spouses, partners, right? One person is saying one thing and the other person saying this, and even they can't get on the same page. And so I have to play this mediator role of, okay, well, what is it that you like? What is it that you don't like? And then it really is just, I think then comes down to having a little bit of the available options. So as a designer and working in it every single day, I'm constantly looking at trends and colors and finishes and all of this. And so I can then, based on product knowledge and experience, be like, okay, what about this? And then, so again, I'm just asking all these questions, digging deeper, and then giving them not 30 options. We're not doing that, right? I give them like 2 or 3, and it becomes the process of elimination. So that's it. So 2 or 3, you're looking at whatever it is you're trying to pick out. It could be paint colors, this or that, whatever it is. And even if they're all no's, that's fine. But why? Why is it a no? What don't you like about it? And then I'll come back with more options. But still,
exactly.
Like 3 at once.
You've taken the steps, right? Exactly, right? You've asked the question. You've and people talk about this a lot in sales, as they say, create the funnel, is
Yeah.
ask the questions to kind of narrow down to the final end result of whatever it is that they're looking to do. I'm looking to buy a car. I'm looking to buy a house. I'm looking to buy an insurance policy, whatever it is, right? There's always going to be the things that you want, and then there's going to be that you need. And
Yes.
all of those need to be considered. They all need to be answered, right? And some people are like, man, you ask a lot of questions. Like, yeah, it's kind of how we get to the thing that you want, which is what you want, right?
Right.
Yep.
Well, yeah, that's exactly what I want is what I want. Perfect. So let's keep going with the questions. And that's the thing, right? And I might think that mustard yellow is badass. Not everybody's going to agree with me. However, do I see mustard yellow up in the top corner there? But yeah, it might just be maybe my angle or whatever color it
It's
is.
wood,
Again,
to be honest. It's like a darker wood.
again, right? And that's the funny thing about design and fashion and all that. It's like everything does this full circle come around, right? Like I remember if I wore shorts with socks and shoes and I pulled those socks up, I would get made fun of. But you know what I see a lot of? People walking down the street with bright white socks hacked up like this far from their knee bone. And I'm just like, that's the thing now. Like, what's
Everything
the deal?
changes. Everything changes.
It all comes full circle. You know what? It's funny you say that, Sean. I've got a off topic prediction here that I think short shorts for guys are gonna come back.
Oh, I hope not.
Right?
With any luck.
And they wore those like basketball shorts. I think they're gonna come back. When you talk about the high socks, I'm predicting it right now.
There's a special spot in my closet that I've been waiting to open.
Well, we got this on camera now, so we're going to hold you to that. We'll see what happens.
Oh, perfect. Great. We'll do our own fashion show. Wonderful.
There you go.
What? Same thing with houses, though. Like, things will come full circle. They will always come full circle. So, as far as what I saw it happen with gold. That's what I saw.
The blues and the gold, the blend.
They're all coming back.
What's in right now? What's the big thing right now?
So, I mean, it's funny you say that because I don't know how wide your reach is for this podcast, but Windsor in and of itself is a good 5 to 7 years behind what's trending. So, right, so me as a designer, like I'm looking at Toronto, I'm looking at LA, like I'm looking at those trends. And so when it comes to that, it's really a lot more organics are coming back. So textures and natural elements for sure. But Windsor is still on the white kitchen train.
Okay. Well,
I've got a white kitchen.
Sorry, mine's gray. So I'm.
But I did a really nice like faux butcher block countertop.
Okay.
There you go.
I've got like white subway tile with like black grout in between. It's gonna look really sharp, but I'm immediately regretting having white cabinets. It's just like finger smudge here. Oh, good. Tomato sauce. Oh, good. Smoothie. Perfect.
When I see those white kitchens, I just, like on TV or whatever, I just think to myself, that's a nightmare. That's got to be just a nightmare, especially if you got kids. I mean, I'm seeing pasta sauce all over the place. But now, here's just a quick question, Kass. I've always got quick questions. What is the smallest job you've handled? And what is the largest job you've handled?
Ooh. Okay, I'm going to start with the largest because I can't even remember a small. I mean, as far as small jobs go, I want to say it's really just like an in and out consult. Right? So for the smaller jobs, it's not that I won't take them on, but there's not much I can do. Like if you're just sitting here thinking, I got a powder room, I want to put some wallpaper in it. Great. Well, I can help you pick a wallpaper, in an hour, but here's your contact for it. It's not really worth their money to have me involved in something so small, to be honest. It is a lot. What I get from people is they don't know how to go about the process and they want that hand holding. So when it comes to one of the bigger jobs I've done, I did manage. So 2 come to mind. They were both in Kingsville. I've got a soft spot for Kingsville. It's a gorgeous area and the houses are phenomenal. But I was fortunate enough to work on the Desjardins office. in Kingsville.
Okay.
So we had
Ian Murray's office.
Pardon?
Ian Murray's office?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I know which. Yeah.
Yep. So that was all me, all my design. It was a lot of fun. Learned a lot. Yep. It was funny. I won't get into it. It's probably an off-camera conversation that we can have about how I landed on that floor plan. But yeah, I worked with Ian on his first office to decorate it, and then they were taking on this massive, essentially the building. They had to extend it all. They had to put all new foundation, and they completely enclosed the front area that was just like a pavilion. And yeah, we picked out everything from the exterior to the windows. I mean, I rendered the whole thing. So
from the window
that was a big
to the
job.
wall.
A lot of fun. What's that?
I said from the window to the wall.
To the wall. Yeah.
No.
I love that song.
I won't see the last. And the sweat was definitely dripping. No, that was a lot of fun.
You said there was two. You said there was two.
So that was my biggest commercial job. And then my biggest residential job was another one in Kingsville. It was a 2.5-story, $2 million home. And we essentially ripped out the whole, like everything. I mean, we put in a 40-foot beam to extend their whole kitchen. There was like a custom glass wine wall.
Nice.
We turned one of the studios and their master closet into a big fat dressing room. We took their old kitchen, put it in the basement, created a whole kitchen and whole unit down there. Theater room, bar, powder room, kids' rooms. It was the whole house. Yeah. So that was another fun one too.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That was a big job. That was a big job.
Yeah. It was a lot.
I want a theater room so bad. Oh my God. That's always been it. I'm a movie buff through and through. There's nothing I enjoy more than a hangout, watch a movie, big screen, get the popcorn, do the fun things. And it's just, I've always wanted a theater room. I will have it. It will happen.
There you go.
Positive thinking. There you go.
That's
My
it.
short in your theater room, Sean. You'll get it one day, I promise.
That's it. That's it. One day at a time. That's all we can hope for.
Yeah.
As for the average client, I mean, we're talking $2.5 million homes here. We're talking industrial or commercial real estate. For the average client, what can the average client, what do they expect? What are they looking at? I mean, just so that we can give people who are watching and listening an idea of, across the board there.
So I think the biggest thing that I want people to consider is essentially how they want the experience to go, how trusting they can be in other people in their home, but really how much hand-holding they need through the process. So it's one thing to design it and be, collaborate on that portion of the project. And then there's also actually implementing it. So I think the biggest thing there is for them to figure out which part of the process they want the most help with. And is it, putting all the strategy together and the plan together and then implementing it, or one or the other, or both? So I think for the average person, it does come down to the design. I think Windsor for sure, they're okay, calling the electrician. They're okay calling the contractor. But then, okay, here's the other thing that happens often is having someone to be the bad guy. So if the homeowner themselves are dealing with all the sub trades and they're trying to contract it on their own, which people try to do, and then they get into
easy as they think.
It's not. It really isn't. And then depending on who you are as a person, are you non-confrontational? Do you want someone to just have your back? I think is a lot of something I didn't realize getting into it, right? I love designing. I can come up with floor plans and finishes all day. But then being that advocate, I think for my clients is huge, huge. So if you want to have someone in your corner, you got to get someone who's just a little bit on the outside. So I get to have this really objective perspective of, okay, Mr. Contractor, you screwed this up. You need to fix it. How are you going to fix it? Hey, Mr. Client, you didn't buy this in time. It's sort of on you. So sort of navigating the whole process. It's nice to just have someone that you can call up and be like, this is happening. What do I do?
Now, I'm sure you have.
not everybody's
Oh,
a
sure.
quarterback, right? Like
Oh, yeah.
there's lots of people like I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, but I can't be the quarterback because I don't know how to navigate or coordinate or do, manage 4 different sub trades all at the same time. Like I'm a great painter, but I don't know shit about electricity. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
can rewire.
just
Yeah,
scheduling them properly, so that they're all coming in the right order to get the jobs done.
exactly. And the know-how at the end of at the other side of it is the know-how. It's like, okay, well, I need this, this room wired and the bathroom wired. It's like, okay, that's going to take 2.5 weeks. And to an unknowing, homeowner, it's like, yeah, man, I mean, the professional says it's going to take 2.5 weeks. One day, like 1 day that should take. Maybe 2 if there's some complexity to it, but I rewired the whole house.
Yeah.
It can easily be done quickly. Certainly, I'm a novice, but I know how to follow instructions. I know how to read code. And it's like, you follow the instructions, you do things right, you'll be fine, right? Have it checked, have an inspector come out. Don't just start taking off your electrical panel. Get a permit if you're going to do it yourself. If not, call the guys. There's
Yeah.
people that know how to do this, that are trained to do this, and they're going to save you the time, the energy, the effort, and you can be rest assured that it's going to be done right.
Or you
Yes.
talk to Kass and make sure that she's taking care of it.
Or you give me a
Exactly.
call.
And that's the other one. It's like, I need the quarterback. I don't even want to think about making sure that, that they've done it right. I need the quarterback. Here's the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you have
Yeah.
to be willing to trust.
I mean, I had somebody come in one time. They said they were going to be 3 weeks to get the work done that I needed. 4.5 months later, it started to be the running joke that they were going to be there for Christmas. They would show up and say, okay, they'd work for an hour or two. They'd say, well, we just got to go get a tool. And I wouldn't see them for 3 or 4 days. It was terrible. It was. And yeah, you're getting frustrated, and they always have a million excuses as to, somebody got sick or whatever else. I actually said to the guy, to the company, say, I'm looking for somebody who's just working on my house right now. I'm your focus. Oh, that's us. No problem. And we all know they were going off and doing 2 or 3 or 4 other jobs. It's bouncing between everybody there, and I do understand, you got to keep the guys working and the money flowing and everything else. But, 3.5 months to do a 3-week job,
No.
and I didn't have somebody there to be in my corner and say, okay, this is not working for us. It would have been very nice.
And then let alone finding somebody else, right? So knowing
now you got to start from scratch.
Now you got to start from scratch. And sometimes people don't want to come in and fix somebody else's mistakes. But
Well, if they do, they're going to charge you for it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I think those are like some of the biggest concerns that I get from my clients. Like we hear all these horror stories and they do happen, but it's just, how are you going to navigate it? And so if it's going to cause you more stress, I mean, a lot of my clients have kids and they have full-time jobs or they're running businesses. So how much do you actually want to take on in any given day? And that's where it's like having someone who would navigate all of that for you. I don't want you to be stressed out. Just you go live, just pay the bill and we'll all be fine.
I'm going to throw 2 questions at you. One is, have you ever, and I'm sure you have, but have you ever run into somebody who has the champagne taste and the beer budget, and they really kind of this is what we want?
That doesn't happen.
And you have to kind of bring them down to reality and say, well, it's wonderful that you want this, but.
Yes. So a lot of, I'll give a spiel to a lot of people I get on the phone with, and I say, create that dream. Create that dream for yourself, get on a Pinterest, dream it up, put everything on your wish list that you want. But then at the bottom, have your non-negotiables. And I also say that they're both judgment free. I don't care if you want, a waterfall in your house. I don't care if you want 3 washing machines, but what's your dream and where are your non-negotiables? And so if your non-negotiables are, I want 1 washing machine, but your dream is we want 3. And it's like, well, this is what 3 costs. Is it a priority for you? So it really, they get to play around and I want them to do that. But then it is this level of where your priorities lie. And that's just, Yeah, just the balance. And I get to take all the emotion out of it. It's like, hey, well, this is how much it costs. Is that what you're willing to spend? How much do you want to invest? But then, like I said at the beginning, it does come down to how long they're going to be in that house for, because then the priorities will shift. If this is their forever home and they want 3 washing machines, then that's what they're going to get.
Totally. Yeah. Like, I'm not going to build a theater room in a flip house because that's my theater room.
Exactly.
And if I am going to do one, like if we're going to put one in there, perfect. I'm not going, crazy. I'm not doing all the 9s and this and that. It's like, cool, let's throw up a screen, let's throw a projector, install it in the wall, run a little extension cord or, wiring so that it's up there, throw a couple of Bose speakers, bang, boom, and done in a couch. We good.
Yep. But here's where I'm going to throw something at you, Sean, and I'm curious your thoughts on it, because I get this often from flippers and real estate investors is, again, they don't think that they need a designer, and I'm not here to convince you otherwise, but here's what I would throw out there is, depending on what you want to do with this house and if you are selling it, who's the ideal client that you want to buy it? Because it might be worth putting a small entertainment room downstairs and theater room, right? You can do it in a cost-effective way, but would that appeal, to whoever is going to be buying your flip house? And I think that's something that flippers don't realize, but you tell me.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Is like, if I've got, let's say there's a house I find in Riverside, nice big backyard, no pool. It's Windsor. Like, adding that pool is probably going to get your value there. Again, I know some people are like, well, there's things that definitely translate the value, new kitchen, new bathroom. Those are kind of the first ones that people say you get, pretty much full return on money. Well, I'm from Calgary. You don't need a whole lot of pools in Calgary. You don't even really get much time for it in Calgary. I've seen snow in July. In Windsor, I will literally boil alive in this city without a pool. And it's like the first year we were here, I was like, oh my God. Like, this is insane. We haven't gotten the pool. Yeah, right? We had to order a new liner for a new pool, and it's still not set up yet. Yes, I know. It's the hottest week of the year. It would have been ideal to have it all set up. And again, I learned my lessons. I learned them. It pisses me off, but I learned them. And, like, there's nothing more glorious when it's 37 degrees outside to just get into that nice pool at, like, 75 degrees Fahrenheit. And it's like, ooh, yeah, that'll get you. Again. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
It's glorious. That's just, no question. Well, but again, so sorry, to answer your question, if it's a house in Riverside and there's large, big backyard in a city like Windsor where there's a very good demand for the requirement of a pool, that's a great investment. That could be a good thing. So again, having that kind of that consult that can offer that kind of guidance and advice in that aspect, that's worth its weight in gold. Because dropping a giant pool that occupies 75% of a backyard on California near downtown, maybe not exactly the right area. Right? So it's like, save the 50 grand, guys. Let's do a kitchen reno, let's do a bathroom reno, and get that baby flipped over.
Yeah.
Okay. Real quick.
On the right track here then.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now, when it comes to just that question, what percentage of the clients that contact you are dealing with new homes or selling homes?
Ooh, you know what?
Oh, like, you mean like they're selling the house and they're thinking
they're selling a house and they want to upgrade it to get a better price, or they've just bought a home, and they want to have you come in and
do upgrades or whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, is it a lot of people who just are living in the home and just want to upgrade, or is it more the selling and just bought type of scenario?
Yeah, so I've been fortunate to work on a couple of real estate investor homes, but for the most part, people reach out and I think they see that value in, okay, this is my forever home. I'm ready to spend the money, right? And so I want to make sure I do it right. Where I think again, maybe I'm trying to change misconceptions here about using a designer on flips and real estate investing, because they don't quite see the value. They're like, nah, I can do this, right? I'll go to Home Depot and I'll get the cheap tile here and I'll get the cheap this and cheap to keep profits up. And I get that. But yeah, so a lot of the people that reach out, they're living in it, they're staying in it, or at least they know that they're going to be in it for 5 to 10 years, I want to say. So they see the value in getting a designer to make sure they do it right. They're thinking, I'm ready to spend some big money and I want to do it right.
And I mean, even in that aspect, like the thought process of them, hey, I want to do it on the cheap. I want to do it on the cheap. So I'm going to go to Home Depot and go pick up this. It's like, okay, yeah, $3.95 for that, vinyl plank. That particular one, maybe it's a deal, maybe it's not. Who knows? Well, the designer certainly knows. Like, you look at flooring all day long. It's like, yeah, that's, it says it's 42 cents off per square foot, but really that's normally like $1.99 or whatever it is, right? Again, I'm just picking up numbers. But again, that's to somebody that doesn't do it all day long. Like, have you ever noticed, I used to always see this in future shop flyers. TVs always go on sale right around tax return time. You could set your watch to it right before Super Bowl, things like that. TVs would always go on sale. Yeah, on sale. Well, I was a notorious flyer watcher when I was younger. I love the movie room. I love the TV room. So I loved watching. I would just read the future shop flyers, Best Buy flyers, like Visions, all that. And I would just go through them like, ooh, that's cool. Ooh, that's cool. And just, I like to do it. And doing that for as long as I did, when the sale would come on, it's like $1,700 off. Now this TV's only $499. I'm like, geez, that's weird. It's been $499 for 3.5 months now. Is it really on sale? Or is that just what they're saying is on sale?
Well, the neat thing with having a designer is because you keep, your finger on the pulse. I'm sure you have contacts with all the flooring and the contractors and the different people that you work with on a regular basis. So, where the best materials are, where the best prices are. I mean, a lot of people just doing it themselves or just getting into the redesigning themselves. They're going to think something's a great sale because they're being told it is. And she's going to know, no, we're going to go this other place here that's off on Airport Road that nobody, except a few contractors and designers know, and we're going to get better product for cheaper price.
And that's the other thing, right? Is I'm sure Kass has probably got some pretty good relationships with these flooring companies or tile companies and this and that and the other. Well, I didn't know that you wanted to pay $3.99 a square foot for, the regular vinyl plank flooring. I mean, I can get you far better flooring for $3.99 a square foot if that's what you're wanting to pay, because I've got the hookup over here. Hey, I've got this Italian marble that just got flown in straight from, Milan. We can get it. I didn't know you wanted to pay $5.99 a square inch, but if you do, let's get the Italian marble, right? Why not? Well, again, hey, Italians, right? It's worth it.
There you go.
Right? You always pay more for it.
So, Kass,
no, you guys make a solid point here. Is like understanding the business end of it all. And then again, where are your priorities and what's going to fit best for you? And so if you don't do it on a regular basis, you don't know what's out there. And I've had to learn, right? You get a feel, and I've got my solid list of contacts now. And I know, so one thing that I realized too is how much business I do bring to these vendors and retailers and stuff like that. And so if I can be loyal to certain people, then they will, give me better deals or
absolutely.
Absolutely.
Right? Stuff along those lines. So I think having someone who does it every single day, you will benefit for sure. If it's not on design fees, then for sure it would be on finishes.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well,
I know we're getting very close to time here, and I know you're busy, Kass, so we will let you get to it. But I've got one final question because it kind of relates from the last podcast episode that we did. Do you do any design consultations for, and this is a hot topic lately, is ADUs, additional auxiliary dwelling units, whatever they are, ADUs?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I can consult on anything because at the end of the day, it really is it's the same process. It's the same process for anything, right? I can consult on a single room, on big things. So anything that if you're considering anything in your home and you get to a point or anywhere in the real estate world, in a house, and you get to this point of, you know what, I'm just worried, I'm nervous, I want to make sure I'm making the right call, then what's a 15-minute call with a designer? and just see
Yep.
what the options are and if it's worth it. So again, being in sales for so long and in finance and all of this, I'm not one that's going to give you anything that I don't feel that you need. So
Mhm.
if it's not something I can help with, then it's like, you know what? I don't think I would be a good fit here, but here's a couple of contacts to get you in the right direction. So I think no matter
Yeah.
what, it's worth a phone call. Absolutely.
Perfect.
No,
Awesome.
and I agree with that for sure. Now, Cass, for those who are watching and listening, if they wanted to reach out to you, how do they get a hold of you?
So, I mean, I'm on all the social media channels, but if it's not too tacky to give my phone number, 226-881-2194,
Absolutely not.
send me a text or give me a call. I've also got a website, right? kassdesignstudio.ca. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, all of the channels. So you can send me an email too. It's the boss at kassdesignstudio.ca. But yeah, just reach out, and I'm a no obligation person. So you just want to ask a couple questions, get in touch.
Perfect.
Perfect. Perfect. Well,
That's
I
awesome.
appreciate your time.
Yeah,
Lots of info. Absolutely. And I think we'll definitely have you back on. But there's a couple of projects that are coming up that I want to kind of get some input on, and I'd love to have you on the show and just sort of pick your brain on them. And I think what we should do is get a couple of flippers on, and have a nice discussion. I
Mhm.
think that'd be a great thing.
A nice little round table.
Yeah,
yeah,
for
just
sure.
little round table talk panel discussion. I'm game for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Beauty.
Okay, great.
Perfect. All right. Well, again, thank you guys both. Appreciate your time. To our viewers, thank you again for tuning in. Been another great episode here of the Real Connection Podcast. I'm Sean Santoro, mortgage agent with TMG, the mortgage group. Dave McCall, my co-host, and we were joined today by Kass DiPasquale from Kass Design Studio. So anybody got any questions for anything design related, flips, ADUs, big project, small project, bathroom, kitchen, whatever, reach out to Kass. She's going to help you out. She's going to give you some insight, and she'll make sure you get some good deals. So, but everybody, thank you again for your time. You guys all take care. Enjoy your day.
Thanks, guys.
See you later. Bye.